Welcome to the Monday Vid Conference. And today, Wendell Timothy, Rookie of the Year, Birmingham, Alabama, is with us. And we're going to kind of just go through kind of what we've been doing with some of these top awards from the Hanley Award. So, Wendell, I'm glad you're our special guest today, and I know we've got a lot to talk about. Maybe we could start out by, Wendell, if you just give us, I know a lot of the studio owners know your background, but some of them don't. You might not have met everybody yet. And there could be some new studio owners who are watching like the replay of this even 6 months from now. So how about just giving us a little background on your journey to home video studio, what you used to do, and everything leading up to Getaway 22, if you would.
Okay.
If you wouldn't mind. Good to have you on today. Thanks.
Good to be here. Good to be here, and good to see everybody. So yeah, my journey leading to HVS. First, I'll start off. I had a 24-year sales career with Kraft Foods, leading consumer packaged good. I'm originally from New York City, born and raised. And after college, I decided to move to, well, I had a job, started my job up in New York, but then I decided to get out of New York and try something new. So I asked to transfer to our office in Atlanta, worked in the office in Atlanta for about a year, and then kind of got homesick. And the vice president at the time asked, had I thought about going into sales? And I never did. Went to school for business management, but never thought about sales. So he said, give it a try. And after 6 months in sales, they promoted me to a manager, and I moved to Birmingham, where I am now, and worked 22 years as a sales manager. In 2018, late 2018, in December, actually, they went through a corporate restructure, and after 24 years, they decided to let me go. So it was really, really disappointing. Just 6 years short of my full retirement. So anyway, a couple other things happened around that same time, which we can talk about later. But I guess in 2020, I decided, okay, start looking for another job. Thought about going back into sales, and also thought about doing something in audio visual, because I had worked a lot of experience with that, working at churches, being an AV engineer or the AV leader in several churches, doing wedding videos. And then in, I guess, early 2021, I saw an ad for HVS, and I recognized it from almost 15 years earlier that I had gotten an email or seen in a magazine. And I actually had thought about it back then, but because I was working full time, I just, put it aside. But I remembered it. So I gave Robert a call and signed up for the Saturday Zoom and Tell, and the rest is history. I think I signed up on that same Saturday, and again, I had the video and audio experience, but knew nothing about transfers. I had done some of my own over the years, not very successful with it, not happy with it, but I was very enthusiastic and eager to get into this business because, I dabbled in it, and always wanted to work for myself. I never wanted to be put in the position again where I was beholden to someone. And after all the loyalty of 24 years, it's just, hey, we don't have any space for you anymore. So this seemed like a perfect fit. So that's where we are today.
Wow, great story. So are you happy you came on board with Home Video Studio?
Yeah, very happy. Extremely happy.
And you were doing and still do quite a bit of video work for your church.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So I'm the AV leader at two churches, one that worships on Saturday and one that worships on Sunday. So my weekends are not free at all. The one on Saturday, it's not a long day, and so it doesn't take a lot of my time. But the previous leader, who I was his assistant for the last 20 years, he passed away in 2020, and it's a full production at that church. So all we had, even up to then, was just youth volunteers that helped man the cameras and run the IMAX software. When the church opened back up after the pandemic, no one was coming back to church, but I manned everything. So the switcher, the 3 cameras, I would just turn them on, get a wide shot, a close-up shot, and a side shot. I had to get my iPad and connect wirelessly to the audio mixer that was in the balcony. And so I have a station similar to your desk, Robert, where I have everything, where I control the audio, control the switchers, and remote control. I can remote control the cameras, and I do everything. And then Sundays is just repeat that again. But I have a team there at least.
So have you ever had a panic moment, like it's 5 minutes before service starts and all of a sudden all the screens go black? Or
Yes, that happens a lot. No, not a lot, but it does happen. And I just do my woosah, and if all else fails, shut down and restart.
awesome. Or you could say, you could tell the pastor, hold on, you got to wait.
No, the show always must go on.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get to the getaway in your first year, one quick question, because you found us on Facebook, or we found us on Facebook, I think, right?
I think it was on Facebook, correct?
Yeah, and we're running a lot of Facebook ads right now, and I just had a guy email, and he said, "Hey, I saw your ad. Was thinking about doing this myself, and maybe I should do it with you guys." What do you think it would have been like if you tried to do it on your own? You think it's a loaded question, of course, but do you think it's worked out better as being part of Home Video Studio?
No doubt at all, it's worked out better doing it under Home Video Studio. Just the support coming right out the box with the website. I mean, that's been a tremendous help from day one. Anybody does a search for Home Video Studio or video transfers, from day one, when you turn the website on, it automatically led to me. And I think after 2 weeks of signing with you, I told you that I already had some leads coming in. So there's no way. I mean, there's a way that I could have done it on my own, but I wouldn't not be successful at all, at least to the point where I am right now. It would have taken a lot more work. So the marketing from the website, the support from each one of you being able to reach out to you. I remember you encouraged me, and you gave me a list of the studio owners, the veterans, to reach out to get their input before even signing on the dotted line. I think that was very instrumental for my success and continued success.
Great. I love the way you answered that. What if you said, "No, it's horrible. I would have done it on my own." I should edit that out probably. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So you go your first year, and you actually you came to your first getaway. I know you were there 5 days, and then that was last getaway, and then you came to advanced training. And then we come up to getaway 22, which is your second getaway.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about, first of all, entering the Hanleys. Before you even got to the getaway, you entered the Hanleys, and I kind of noticed that at first you only entered 1 or 2. I think I might have sent you an email suggesting maybe another entry, but how many categories did you end up entering in?
Well, yeah, you're right. I think I only submitted 1 video to begin with, and you're right again. You sent me not just 1 text, but a couple texts and emails saying, "Wendell, send me videos," and you kind of reminded me of the different categories. And being new, I didn't think a lot of the work that I had been asked to do or done on my own was of the quality. I just didn't think I was ready, but I was glad for your encouragement to submit them. And I think maybe I entered in 6 or 7 videos.
Yeah, I think you did. So, first of all, how was your getaway experience this year?
Getaway experience was great. I had a good time, obviously seeing everybody and learning all the different things that all the studio owners have been doing. The training from the presenters, especially with Premiere Pro and Photoshop were very good. That's something that I really needed. But just being around everybody in the classes, and obviously the experience with Backlot, that's kind of my first kind of first thing that mini film that I've done on my own. So I was excited about doing that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Backlot because we kind of just threw you into that, which is what we like to do because it's kind of like a sink or swim thing. What did you shoot your Backlot video on? Did you use your Blackmagic camera? Or did you use something else?
So coming in, I was going to bring my Blackmagic camera, but that was just going to be an extra thing to carry on the plane. So I guess I was thinking that there would be some camera equipment available, and I found that there really wasn't. So I shot the whole thing with my iPhone.
You shot it with your iPhone.
Yes.
Oh, what did you use for a tripod, or did you have one?
I used my little. I didn't use a tripod. My wife used a little. Not a gimbal, but it's kind of a. Can't even remember what to call it, but
Stabilizer. No?
Yeah.
Okay. So you shot that on iPhone, which is perfectly fine. What?
Right.
Which iPhone? 13 or 14?
12 Pro.
12 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And now the
14 is out.
Yeah, that's right. 14 is coming out now. So yeah. I meant to say, I guess 12 or 13.
Mm-hmm.
14 was on my mind. Did you guys see the Apple? Anybody watch the Apple event last week?
I did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
They do a great job, don't they, at that? The way they do all that, just great. So that's interesting. The 14 is coming out. Okay, so did you have that planned when you came out to do the video that you actually did, or did that kind of come together there?
That came together there, I think, on that Tuesday. So coming in, I guess I was thinking that it was more going to be training on how to shoot a video versus just going out and shooting the video, shooting a film. So after meeting with you, you kind of gave me the idea of what I needed to do. I think that afternoon, that afternoon, because I got there that afternoon, I just went to my room, started brainstorming. I reached out to my best friend to get some ideas from him and what we thought we could do, told him where I was, and we kind of just thought about kind of the old, even though we're in Reno, kind of thought about the old Las Vegas and the nostalgia around it, and that's how the Lucky Coin was birthed.
What was the Hanleys like for you? Going in, expectations, and then during the evening, as how many did you actually? Well, first of all, let's start out about the nominations, because we always tell people, especially new owners, to enter, and don't worry about if you think your stuff's not that great or whatever. But how did you feel the night of the nominations? Was that pretty exciting for you?
It was very, very exciting. First of all, the atmosphere was the whole experience was just surreal, but the atmosphere, I think, was top notch. I think you and your team did an outstanding job setting it up and making it as if we were all going to the Grammys or the Emmys or the Oscars. It was just awesome. And so just to be in the presence of all the studio owners and to observe all the great work that everybody's done was a bonus.
And so how many nominations did you get? Did you keep count? Do you recall?
I believe it was seven nominations total, 6 or 7 nominations total.
Okay, and then we go to the night of the Hanleys. Your family is there. You brought your wife and daughter.
Mm-hmm. That was my crew, my film crew.
Okay. How was the dinner, by the way? How was the food? I heard it was great.
It was awesome. It was great.
Actually,
Yeah, it was very good.
we were eating because for anybody that's watching this and doesn't know, Denise and I missed the Hanleys because I came down with COVID. But we actually had the same dinner. They brought it up to us. I thought it was pretty good. And that's what's really important. Not if you are nominated or if you win a Hanley. What's really important is how is the food. It's always about food. What about, so then the first nomination that, I guess Craig did, not the nomination, but the first presentation on the Hanleys, and then you win. Tell us about that. The first time you went up on stage, and what event, what category was it, and what do you remember about it?
I think it was the best web TV video. Yeah, I believe that was the first one, and I was sitting next to Curtis, and I distinctly remember the shock on my face to hear my name. I just wasn't expecting it, and so yeah, that wasn't expecting it, but someone just told me to move, stand up, and get up there and get on stage and say something. So yeah, it was unexpected, but very, very, I was very, very appreciative of it.
Who was the client on that? I recall the video, I do believe.
Yes, her name was Tony Eubanks, and she I remember her very well because it was around November, December of last year that she came. She called me. She did a Google search and called me and asked me, told me what she wanted to do. She had some ideas. I said, yeah, we can do that. I said, I have room in my studio to shoot it. And I remember posting some pictures of the shoot on Facebook where I set up the green screen and my 2 cameras and my switcher. And we just did it. And it only took like 2 takes. And then she just kind of gave me her vision and put it together. And maybe only after about 2 edits, she gave it a thumbs up and loved it. And she put it on her website.
So it's good to win, isn't it? So your second one,
yeah.
What was the category?
I think it was best memorial video.
Okay, and so now what were you thinking? Were you thinking you might win, or were you stunned again?
Yeah, stunned on that one as well, because I know that all the studios had, most of them had lots of experience doing that in the past. So I was just glad to be nominated. But looking back, I think everybody has their own style, their own way of adding their special touch. And one of the things that I've worked on over the years doing these for churches and families is choice of music is key, and then simplicity is key. So I think for the one that I had submitted, the song that went along with it was a really touching one that kind of really tore on the heartstrings of anybody that was watching. So I think that was an added help to it.
Okay, so now we jump cut to the Rookie of the Year. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that one, it floored me, but I guess it shouldn't, because I was one of the, I think maybe 3 rookies, but I had been the rookie the longest. Everyone else had come after me and shortly before the getaway. So I guess I was again really happy about getting that one. That was real validation of the work.
And then what was your reaction of your wife and your daughter? I mean, did they come up and give you a big hug or say?
Oh, they were extremely happy. And I think I know that Chad caught an awesome picture of them at the dinner table. I think one of them was my wife holding the camera up to the screen. And then the other one was just my daughter smiling, really, just when I got to the table, I think the second time, said, "Daddy, I'm so happy for you." So that was really good to hear.
Well, what are your future plans? Any for the business this year and for the Hanleys next year, maybe what advice you would have for a new owner that is thinking about doing backlot or entering the Hanleys, you know, well, what all that wrapped into one, what do you think?
Well, no, now going into almost halfway through year two, I'm glad to still be here. I'm glad to make it through year one because, you know, over the years, I've always heard people that have started their own business, the first year is the hardest. And I definitely lived that. But I stuck through it because I knew that after the first year, that getting over that first obstacle, that things would improve, and everything every month is seemingly better than the previous month. So I'm so grateful for that, getting past that, getting over that obstacle, and just continuing to grow. You know, you always recommend to the new owners to come to all the trainings, advanced training, come to the getaways, because you always are learning something. You can always talk to the studio owners. Talk to my installer, Mr. Professional Chris Moen, all the time.
Yeah.
And he's giving me some great advice from when he came down and spent time doing my install to just me giving him a call and asking him some questions, getting some advice. Even coming to advanced training the Hanleys, just being in the room watching everyone's videos, is that alone is priceless, because you get inspired to continue doing what you're doing and to do new things that you never thought that you could do, and then talking to other people about how they do things. Like I remember getting there that first day and sitting out with John, because I bought the gimbal for the iPhone. I couldn't figure out how to balance it at all, and I just got frustrated. And I sat down with him, and after 10 minutes, he got it figured out for me. And you know, I probably would have gone another year without using it if I hadn't sat down those 5 or 10 minutes with him. So that's for the new guys on board, guys and gals on board. I would say continue doing what you're doing. It's going to get better month after month as long as you put in the time, take the advice from Robert and the other veterans, and reach out to each other and get on these Monday calls, because you learn a lot. Even if you're just on for 15 or 20 minutes, you hear one sentence that could change your life.
Good advice. Good advice. Any questions from anybody out there in studio land? Any comments or questions?
Hey, yeah, Wendell, this is Tom. First of all, belated congratulations to the
Thank you,
rookie.
sir.
So thank you for the hat too, number 2.
You're welcome.
I use it all the time. That actually sits on my promotional bear as they walk in. It's actually on his head every time the customer comes in, and it starts a conversation. So
Awesome.
thank you for that, number one. Hey, so one rookie to another, you're obviously ahead of me, but advice relative to one rookie win and one rookie mistake that I should either watch out for or avoid here that you have in your last, year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, so rookie win, I would say, is don't be afraid to grow in the areas that you're weakest. And so for me, it was video transfers. You know, I had the experience with video production, and I could have easily said I'm going to focus on video production, but I didn't, because I knew that when it challenged me, I wanted to be stable across, you know, all the profit centers. So I really dug into what I didn't know, and developing that to a level where I could find balance. Rookie mistake would be as it relates to pricing. And Robert has said this from day one, about pricing and not being afraid to charge what you're worth. And so I've learned that both personally and professionally. And, you know, starting from the very beginning with nobody knowing me and knowing my business in this market, I felt strongly about having attractive enough prices, not cheap prices, because I don't want to dummy down the product, but not having, having a good enough price where I can entice or encourage prospective customers to come and take advantage of my services. And I think that's, good to do for a little bit, but I think I did it for too long of a time period. So maybe 1 or 2 or 3 months, but after that, you really need to, because of all the training that we get, our services that we provide are number one by far, despite what the competition is that we may have in our market. So if people see a price that's what they consider to be too good, they'll take advantage of you. And so that's the learning that I took away from year one is charge what you're worth.
Excellent. Okay. Excellent. Great. Thank you. That's very helpful.
Well, let's talk about your book, and then somebody might think of a comment or question, but I didn't even know anything about this. And I think I'm on Facebook about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I see you've written a book. This is your chance to promote your book and tell us about it.
All right, great. Yes, so I wrote a book, and for those of you that don't know, I'm a cancer survivor. And I kind of go back over the history about it, because actually it aligns very much with my decision to join Home Video Studio. So December 2018, I learned of my job loss, and not only my job loss, but I went for my physical the next day after learning about that, and learned that I had prostate cancer. So, both shocks to the system within a day of each other. June of 2019, I had my surgery, had my prostate removed. And then October, so that was in June. In August, I learned that there was a possibility that the cancer had spread past the prostate. So to be sure, they wanted to treat me with radiation therapy, and that was 38 days of radiation. And that took place every day from October through December of 2019. Went through that, and the surgery alone was not even, so to take it back, the diagnosis alone was a punch in the gut. No one ever wants to hear that they have cancer, but as for me, especially being fairly, I won't say a newlywed, but I was only 10 years into my marriage. I married late in life and had my first child very late in life at 43. So, but those are the first things on my mind. I don't want to leave. I have a 4-year-old that I adore, and have a wife that I adore, and children, and I have to be here. It would just be devastating. So just hearing that alone, and then doing the surgery, and then being scheduled for the radiation therapy, I just said I have to fight this. So I went in. I remember going in my first day, and something just told me, I'm not a heavy Facebook user. I'm on there every day, but I don't post every day. I don't spend a ton of time on there. But something just told me, start writing day one, just write down what my experience was. And I had no plans of doing that every day, but I just said, I'm gonna do this the first day. And first day led to the second day of journaling, what I went through. And then all of my friends on Facebook, my Facebook page started to blow up. People were crying, they were thanking me and saying how good of a writer I was, and how they felt they were in the room there with me as I was going through this. And I did it for, I think I only missed one day that I didn't journal anything. And the feedback again throughout the experience was so good. It just lifted me up and helped me, fight through this So at the end, I just decided, wait, I've got this, all these journal entries. I'll just copy and paste it and make it a book, because a lot of people said how it had helped. I remember someone I didn't even know, but they were a friend of a friend on Facebook. They reached out to me in Messenger and said, hey, their husband had just got diagnosed, and they had been reading my journal entries, and she shared it with her husband, and it was such a tremendous help to them. And I just said that I would make it a mission of mine to, one, encourage other men to get tested, get their PSA tested, and two, for those that have been diagnosed, let them know that there is hope, that they can get through it, and kind of just share my story of how I coped through it. So those were the feeders, or the motivation towards putting the book together. And I had intended to do it a lot sooner, but life happens, and but I'm just thankful to be able to finally say that it's there, and hopefully I'm able to help and inspire and empower as many people as possible.
So you wrote the book, and how's the book doing? Is it where would we find the book?
Yeah, so it's available on. So I didn't go the traditional route of getting a publisher, but my best friend told me about lulu.com, which helps support people that want to self-publish. So I use their platform, and one of the benefits of their platform is, one, they have their own online bookstore where you can purchase through them, but they also have it, once the book is approved, then it becomes available for all retailers to carry and sell as well. So one, it's available on lulu.com, but it's also available at all other major retailers, Amazon and Barnes and Noble, as well as many others. And this is what this is what it looks like.
Oh, that's great. Good. Very nice.
Can we get autographed copies, Wendell?
Absolutely. And so I didn't explain. So you see the puzzle and the title, putting the pieces together. So one of the things at the clinic that I went to for my radiation treatments, which is really the key thing that helped me through it, was that so you go into this room, and it's there's a big circular table in the middle of the room, and that's where all the gentlemen sit down after they change into their robes. They sit down at this table and wait their turn to go into the treatment room. And so at this particular clinic, they would put a puzzle on the table, anywhere from 500 pieces to 2,000 pieces. So that was my first experience on day one, going there and seeing the puzzle. And you wait your turn anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes after getting dressed. And the puzzle is what really helped get me through, helped me cope, because it all became about one day at a time, one piece at a time. And I'd find myself, even after getting the treatment and getting dressed again into my normal clothes, just spending an extra 10, 15 minutes trying to find pieces of the puzzle. And everybody there used to call me the puzzle man, because I would just find piece after piece after piece, and I wouldn't give up. And that's just the conversations with the other guys there. I mean, they were all ages, all ranges of age. I was probably the youngest one, but just being able to talk to other guys there about their experiences, how many days they had, if they had the surgery or not, some of the side effects that they were feeling from the drugs or from the radiation, and just sharing those stories. And it just helped people understand that we're not alone, and that we could lean on each other and depend on each other, and work things out. So that's the motivation. That the puzzles was a key thing at this place.
Yeah, congratulations, certainly, and on everything you've accomplished and that you will accomplish. And thanks for being here today. Really appreciate that. Now, speaking of pricing, we're going to get back to pricing and advertising and running the actual business, getting business in. I've got a lot of new things to share with you. But next week, I'm hoping that Debbie Williams will be my guest. So I don't have a confirmation on that. She was.
Hey,
on.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. You want to be our guest next week?
I saw your text. I haven't replied back. I was busy teaching classes because that's what I do in the morning. But yes, I would be happy to be your guest next week.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. So Debbie's going to be our guest next week. And Debbie, that'll be fun. We'll talk about studio store of the year. And I think you're studio store of the year twice now. So
That is right.
we'll have a lot to talk about. And then we'll get back into selling and profit centers and tech and all that. But I think it's good to hear some real stories, and it is exciting, it's motivating, and it give you, you give me a lot of inspiration, Wendell. So thank you very much for everything. All right. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.
Have a great week.